And make sure I'm going to what you're not going to do. Overlay.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Happy Wednesday.
Hey, everybody.
And we are just letting you guys come on in. Come and talk about how the week is going. Okay. All right. Well, happy Wednesday. Welcome back. This is another live episode of What You Not Gonna Do podcast. I am Big Fletch, and to my lovely left, we got
Jada Fire.
yes. And we are coming to talk to you guys about mainly just education. How we all feeling about kids being back to school? How do you feel about like the COVID, monkeypox? And then kind of dig deep into like what y'all think about education. Did you like school? Did you like going to high school? Did you go to college? Did you not? Do you feel like you need to go to school? Do you need to have an education? Do you not need to? So we're just gonna dig into a couple things tonight. So just come and hang with us, talk to us. Come on in the chat, say hey, let us know you're here.
Jewel said, hey.
Hey Jewel. So, well, we could get it started, of course. And everybody chime in. It's really just talking about education right now with kids, ourselves, and what we think about it. So, it is back to school. How do you feel about it?
I am. It's like a mixed emotion, happy or sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like we have to deal with like people going to like going to school and being safe while they're at school, and you know some parents don't care if the kids are sick. They want them out the house, so they're gonna send them to school. So they got a chance of getting the other kids sick because they want a break. So they don't care how they send their kids to school. And I have kids that's still in school. Like even though my son graduated, I still have a daughter, and then a daughter to come that has to go. So I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Sure. Well, personally, I think it's a big deal. I'm glad that they're going back. It's more, personally for me, it's more than just a break, just because when it comes to Miss Rose, she needs to have like that direct like connection with that teacher. She needs to have that one-on-one help. Sometimes she needs to be able to like sit in the classroom and realize you need to focus, because the online with her, no ma'am, it did not work. And I felt like a lot of kids weren't learning.
No, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is like I'm excited for them going back to school. But my things, the things that has me like a little, afraid of them going is what I mentioned about, the parents want to break. Like a lot of parents, let's just put it on the floor, they don't really care about the kids' education. They just want them out the house. Like that's how I feel. I've seen a lot of it happen before. I've seen people don't care about what their kids is doing actually in school for real, for real. They not on their kids, like their kids go get in trouble every day and all type of stuff. And they not caring what the kids do. What they doing is getting them out the house. And you not my problem. You their problem right now. So that's how people really send their kids to school. And that's the same parents that don't care if their kids sick. They'll send them to school. They get runny nose, cough, sneeze. They're gonna send them to school. So that's my whole fear, is because I wear my mask, try to protect the house as much as possible. Even when other people don't wear their masks out in the world, we still wear them here. So it's like, that's my thing. Just trying to.
So it's really the COVID for you, sis.
It is, and it's not even just COVID. It's all type of viruses. That's why I didn't speak just to COVID. Like even before COVID happened, me and Jewel was wearing face masks when we was getting sick, because that's one thing. I don't like people, getting me sick, and I don't like to get people sick. So if I feel like I'm coming down with a cold or whatever it is, we was already wearing masks. We was already using Lysol and Clorox wipes and all that stuff. So this is nothing. It's just now that we have to do it all the time versus when we was just doing it when we feel sick. So it's not just COVID. It's all types. Look at the little monkeypox creeping on in here. It's just stuff. It's not just that. It's viruses, period. It's colds. It's flu. It's all type of stuff. So you just don't know what people have. Like that, and the first thing that they're going to holler is, oh, my allergies and my sinuses is acting up. Not knowing what's going on.
Yeah. So now that can be a big deal there too. But I get what you're saying. No, I understand it. I don't know. I've never really, I guess, experienced that side of, like, when it comes to education. I don't know. I come from a background where it's just important, period. And the best way to get that education is in front of a classroom. Now, granted, they've gone like above and beyond to different ways to like show that you can get a decent education online. Especially compared to when I was going to school and doing virtual, I didn't like it at all. But things are different now, so maybe they make it easier.
Them kids don't be paying attention to their virtual.
I didn't know. I don't know. I know I wouldn't have.
It's the school shootings and COVID, Arlisha said. Exactly, Arlisha. That's another thing, too. The school shootings. You hit that dead on. So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of different things that's going on right now with schools. And I don't know why people is targeting schools, but it's just crazy. Like, so many school shootings, and like I went up to Finney. Seeing all that stuff that was happening when they shut the school down last year, or whatever, or the summer, whatever that was, when they shut that school down because of somebody got stabbed and killed up in there. Like, it's always something going on in these schools. So
yeah, well, that kind of also, when you bring up like that portion of it, because we've seen certain things within our communities, it's like, I hate to say it's just the teenagers, but it's like, what is it that the parents are not doing to like help kind of curb some of that?
Partying.
Or what can they do?
They probably.
I said, or what can they do?
Look, they probably partying. Not like if you not paying attention to the kids or whatever. Like, I always, like, I cuss my kids out. I'm gonna just put it on the floor, like, all the time. Like, if I get a report, oh, they have something going on, I talk to whoever. Like, I always tell a teacher or whatever the case is, or counselor, principal, whoever. They got my cell phone number. Text me. And then if they say, oh, they slacking on whatever, and they'll tell you, I'll be right there like, hold on, and screenshot what they send me and send it. Like, why is this? What's going on here? Or whatever the case is. So it's not like, even though I'm at work or I'm at work, that I don't care about their education, because they know I don't play that. I'll put my kids in school at 3 years old. My daughter was in school 2.5 because she was potty trained. So they let her in. They made an exception to let her in early. So from 2.5 and 3 years old, my kids went to school straight through. So yeah, education is very important, but once they like all of this virtual stuff, they start trying to play games. They want to sit up and do all of this foolishness instead of doing their classwork and falling behind. So now you have to sit here and try to make up all this stuff because you wasn't doing it. And so I'm happy that to a certain extent that they're going back into the building, because like you said, with that hands-on thing, the thing is still, because some kids want to go and they wanted to be a fashion show and just going to hang out.
Yeah. Well, in some cases, that's just high school.
Yeah, high school, right.
That's high school.
Right. But believe it or not, the little elementary and middle school kids be trying to do it too. When I be going to them schools or going in schools for whatever I'm going into schools for, girl, they be in the hallway. When I was going to the elementary school, because the schools is like connected, middle school and high school, girl, them kids be in the hallway. And I ain't talking about the high school. So it's like, but I feel like education is very, 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 very important. and more kids need it. They need to, do the reading, do the math, do the, computers, do like a language or a piano or instrument or something. Do something. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that I always had my kids involved in is the whole time they've been in school, they've always been in some type of after school program. They track, basketball, wrestling, you name it. They done soccer. They done played it. Javion and Ryan. So I just feel like I don't want it to be as whereas, because I be at work. So sometimes I don't be having time. Sometimes I be tired or whatever the case is. I don't want them just sitting around. So I put them in, they always, the whole time they ever been in school, they had some type of program from then to now. And that, I feel like all that stuff is important because if you don't, they'll just do what I said. Just
go to the wayside.
Yep.
Now, yeah, I mean, that's true. I believe that has a lot to do with also you just making sure you realize like idle mind is the devil's workshop. So you got to keep them busy so their mind don't become idle. And now it's the outside world showing them how to go, what to do, the way to be.
Yeah. And the way to dress, the way to walk, the way to talk.
It's scary.
Yes, it is.
I guess. Dang.
And Kenley said the shooting and kids go to school to be wild. Kids go to school to be wild. Not all, but most. That's true.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I believe that also hits like a certain grade level. Like, I feel like, I mean, well, not to be wild. I mean, when I think about wild, I think about like being able to really just go out and do what you want to do, leave if you want to leave, like skip class, all type of stuff. I'm not saying they don't do that at middle school. I guess middle schools become a more crazier vibe than anything. But I just be thinking like, okay, elementary.
Did you see that video that I posted that I sent to you today with that middle schooler? I think she either elementary or middle school, and she was in there tearing up that school classroom, throwing all of it. And that's what the reason why I say it's elementary, because they have that like those like the little elementary homework and work you see that she throwing all over the floor. Tore that classroom up. I'm talking about this. The students was running, the teacher was running, so it don't necessarily start in like middle school or high school. It be in elementaries.
Yeah, you just think when it comes to those levels, you should be able to control your child, or at least have it set where they know, come on now, you're not about to be acting like that. I don't know, when I think of wild, I just think of high school, because like that's really the threshold where you can really do whatever the hell you want to do, and your parents, they don't have that. I mean, I guess they have control if you have respect for them, but if you don't have respect for them, you don't really have that grasp and control in comparison to like an elementary or middle school. Not saying that they're not wild, but
I know for a fact I know kids that's in elementary school that is very wild. So again, it's like I said, elementary and up, because I don't. Back in the day, you would say something like it was the high school type of thing, but now, girl, it don't have no, what grade level, what big school.
Well, maybe that's because kids are raising kids.
Exactly. Because that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like the parents
of it, like the end reason behind it. Because
Arlisha said the parents teaching them stupid stuff, not common sense and education. I see a lot of grown people that are so uneducated, and it starts at home first.
Exactly.
Yep.
But and then that's again where I just come back to like, so what is going on at the home? Like, why? How do you? I don't know. How can you just really just let your kid just be a certain way? Now I get. I don't know. I just always think when you hit a certain age, you could be whatever you want to be, and it's only so much a parent can really do. But that elementary and middle school, you should be able to really have it in your kid to know, like, this is not how we're going to do this. This is not how this is going to go. And we're going to cut this right now.
Right.
Or at least find a way to, like, figure out what the issues are. Now, if you sitting up here tearing stuff up, it's because, like Alicia said, they see somebody at their own house doing stuff like that. So they're going to sit there and do all of that. They're going to sit there and mimic what they see on TV. Like, social media and reality TV has really molded what I guess you're supposed to be like. So maybe they are, becoming like more younger when it comes to that whole situation. But if you're involved in your kids' life, you should be able to come on, bring that back on in. But if they're stuck in that whole reality media reality mindset, and it's sad.
Yeah.
All they have is maybe an education. But that's why I also feel like, is it important to people? It might not be important.
That's the question right there. That's the question. And like I was saying before, it do, like Arlisha said, that's what I was saying about it starts at home. If you have, like, your kids, just let them do whatever they want to do. It. You got to think about it. What are they gonna do in school? Mm-hmm. If you allowing them to be an adult, and if you allow them to do adult stuff, what you think they're gonna do in school? Mm-hmm. They're gonna try to do that same thing with that teacher that you allowing them to do, and then when the teacher try to stop that or correct that, then that's probably where the issues and button heads come into play. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I see, I don't know, it's just a lot of, I was talking to a teacher that came and bought a car for me, and she was talking about, she was saying how the kids be so disrespectful at young ages, and she just literally, because she was trying to switch her, the group that she was teaching, and she was like, they be wild. She was like, they just be in there talking any type of way. She was like, you can tell how, what they do at home or whatever the case is. But she said it's like a bittersweet thing because, she want to teach them. She want to be their teacher. But if they instill with all of this bull crap. You have like the rap music. The parents want the kids to be little thugs and gangbangers. So they think that type of stuff is cute. So they raising them to be gangbangers, or they raising them to, disrespect women and all that stuff. So when they go to school or anywhere in the world for a job or anything, they're going to display exactly what they was taught.
Right.
So
it's just one of those things where it's like, you got to really pay attention to what you're putting in the forefront. But I think it's just kind of sad that what is glorified today, which, not saying some things I feel like is not bad. I feel some women, you should be who you are. You should be able to dress how you want to dress. You should be able to say how you feel. I do feel like we should be able to have certain freedoms. However, it's still a certain way to like carry yourself. It's still a certain way to make sure you handle, who you are out here in the world altogether. And especially these young girls are paying close attention. And that's just for example, just for girls. Now, sometimes the media, they don't portray like the bright side of what a girl is. Everybody's supposed to have a big butt. There's very small waist and wigs down to their behinds and long nails. And, this is what beauty is right now, which if that's what you look at as beauty, great. But there's so many different layers and facets to it where I feel like these kids' minds are so young. They're such a sponge. They're grabbing everything. You should be able to express to them and let them know that they should be able to love them for who they are. And it's not just based off of like what you can do to improve your physical feature. It's who you are on the inside. It's how you treat people. It's how you're respectable to your elders. It's how you carry yourself. It's just different layers of it. You can still be able to express yourself without being disrespectful. There's so many different ways towards it.
Right.
But it's like that should also be pushed and expressed. So when they are going out into this world and going to school, they still are being who they are with a form of respect and cadence to themselves. And it's just, I don't know. I just think the parents need to really start to step up and realize how much, especially at certain ages, kids are paying attention to certain things. And they should realize, especially at a young age, how vital education is. Now, after high school, I'm not saying that college isn't important, but I feel like, especially those elementary and middle school years, that's important. You should be telling your kid, no, you're going to school. But it also takes the parent. Because you're the one that has to get up. You're the one that has to go take them to school. You're the one that has to make sure their homework's getting done. You're the one that has to go to parent-teacher conferences. You're the one that has to make sure that they're on what they're supposed to be on, the after-school programs, all type of stuff. Because, like, if you don't care, like you said, it really does just turn into you just finding a babysitter for 6 hours.
And that's how like, you see people making, like, statuses talking about how the kids going to school to eat the lunches and, like, it's just crazy the reasons that people send kids to school nowadays. Because y'all want to send them to school so y'all can sleep longer. Because y'all probably been out all night. So y'all can get high or get drunk in the morning, or that the evening, the afternoon. Some people not, going nowhere. They not doing nothing. They just sitting there. So it's like they want the kids out the house. They want to get up. They want to go wherever they want to go. So I just feel like they don't make it to where it's important to them. And like you said about them, the kids being sponges, is people actually teaching their kids that stuff. Not even just soaking it up as a sponge. People's actually teaching their kids how to be out here like that, how to be, in adults facing business, or how to, like you mentioned, or whatever, or I mentioned a minute ago about the gang banging and all that stuff. Like, break all of the curse. However you was raised, however your kid's father was raised, however, whatever they did in the streets, why wouldn't you want better for your kids? Change that.
Yeah, I think, and that's another thing that I think is just like that drives me crazy. Tiffany said, "Hey, Tiffany."
Hey.
Akeem said disrespectful. Alicia said the kids and parents are friends, or the kids are more of a parent than the adults.
Yes. I see that a whole lot.
I don't know. I feel it when it comes to the younger kids. I mean, I guess it even comes to the older kids. It really does start at home. It really does. It really starts at the very beginning of things. Personally, I really think education is very important. But again, my mother, she works for DPS. She's been with them for over 30 years. She has always looked at education as the top priority. That's just the best way to do. Like, she just thinks that's the best thing to do for yourself in life. It's just to make sure you have some form of education. Just because wherever you go, however you grow, it's important that you know different facets of life, like that you know that your history behind certain things, that you know different subjects and areas of study. So I don't know. It was just always instilled in me. So that's just something that I plan to instill in my kids and like my lovely niece. That's like my child. Education first. I do not play. We're doing honor roll, that homework get done, and we do after school activities because you will be busy. You will not just be sitting around thinking that you're not going to do nothing. You're not just going to be sitting up here thinking that you're just going to be lazy after school is out. No, you're going to make sure you're up on your P's and Q's. And then you're going to get a job when you hit a certain age. When it comes to those high school years, yeah, you're going to work. Learn the importance of $1 and being able to save and budget and manage. And even if they aren't teaching that at school, you're going to get taught it. So it's just, I don't know. It's a big deal.
It is.
Now, did you like school?
So I did like school. I liked school. To me was pretty fun because it's different from what it is. Well, let me rewind, because we stayed in a lot of trouble in school. So, and I mean a lot of trouble. I think every school that we touched, out of like 15 schools that we went to, I think we got put out of all of them. So, except for Stillwagon, I think is the only one. Elementary, we got St. Ambrose. We went there first, and then Stillwagon. I think Stillwagon is the only school that we did not get put out, but every other school we got put out. And I don't know. I love school, and even though we was in trouble all the time, I still like school. And to be honest, I started really jacking up, trying to like follow behind to make sure Jewel was straight, because she was
gonna get you
something else in school. So like something else. I was the one going to classes, and then it got to the point where I had to like go and sit in her classes sometimes so she can get marked there. But then I'll mark absent from my class. But it was, I don't know. I wish that if I can turn back the hands of time, I would, because my 7th hour was my piano, and I love playing the piano. And now to this day, I don't know how to play it because I was skipping 7th hour. And then 1st hour was always my math classes. So the whole 4 years, I really didn't have math classes because I never went to my 1st hour. I can count probably on my hand.
You said forget that.
It was because Jewel, I'm telling you, because we was late every day. We had to make detours, so it was crazy. But I did like school. I tried to like make it up, like with the college and stuff, because I took some of my general education classes that I jacked up in high school. I took them in college, so I did a redo.
Okay.
So I did go and do like just general classes, like my math classes and English classes that I didn't do in high school like that. I did it in college. So, but I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed this college classes. So I've always enjoyed school, or whatever the case is. I just wish I applied myself more because I had way too many distractions. And then we, I don't know, we was twins. Everybody always was mad at us. So we had always like trouble. We was always in trouble. Like no matter, and I mean this for real. Like no matter if we was the ones that initiated, which we always literally was never like the ones initiating all of the stuff, but it just happened the way it did. Like even outside when we graduated from high school, we still was down that same thing. Or whatever the case is. So I just wish, like I said, even just in school, I just took care of that. Like we could have handled that business outside of school like we did when we graduated. But it was just too much. Like, people that you have people with the peer pressure, they want to call you. Oh, the twins, yeah, they scared. They back in the building. We might as well turn around. Oh, here we come. We busting through the crowd. No, we ain't. Here we go, right here. What y'all mean? Like that's the type of thing we have to go through school. Like people just want to, like, and then we end up fighting. Like it never fails. So it was when I was in class, I enjoyed it. Let's say that. Let's say that. But I just wish, like I said, I wish I didn't have to go through all of that because people they have so much hatred.
I mean, in high school, I feel like it's such a popular
middle school too. Middle school too.
Really? I went to a small middle school.
We got put out of every middle school we went to, and it was about 4 or 5 of them. Jeez. And that's the same thing with high school. We got put out of all the high schools. We got put out of all Detroit public schools. I had to take anger management and like a little counseling thing for something for them to even let us back into regular school. That's when we went to Kettering. Then they started with us because we was from Finney. Like when I tell you, it was always a roadblock wherever we went. We tried to go and start fresh, and they didn't like us because we was from Finney, but we didn't back down from them. So then we started fighting in there. It was just crazy. When I tell you it was crazy, it was crazy. And I did go to class, but every time I was in school, I was in class, unless something like that happened. So it was just like
that was just trying.
This is why I'm saying, like, I don't want I always told like Ryan and Javion them, I'm glad that they don't be on that tip that Ryan, she do, because she'll fight too. But I always tell her, let them talk. You ain't got to say nothing to nobody. From what I see, I don't see her into it with people. I see if she ever got into it with people. I literally, from what I seen, it was somebody she was around. But not her, because like I said, you going to school, go to school. Even when she got into a fight at school with the little boy and some little girl, like I told her, you don't have to fight them. You know what I'm saying? Unless they put their hands on you, that's a different thing.
Exactly.
Just because they doing all of this, let it go. Because if I can turn back the hands of time, meet us after school, which we was, but y'all are taking me from school.
Like it's more important.
Yeah, girl, and they crazy and people sneaky. So, they pulling out razor blades, trying to fight with razor blades.
I didn't have the time. I don't know. I still don't have the energy. Like all that is just, no, I'm fine. I just stayed up to myself. No, I don't know. When it was, I enjoyed school.
Just blame sis, huh?
Right.
Yes, I'm telling y'all. If I would tell
on your post system.
Listen, it was her. It was Jewel. She was the reason why I missed my first hour, and she really was the reason I missed my 7th hour.
See, Jewel, I need to come and defend yourself.
Go ahead and tap her in. I'm telling y'all, it was Jewel. Jewel was a problem child, and so she interrupted my education.
I don't know. I enjoy school, but I have moments where I didn't feel like being bothered with it. But like, I'm grateful that I had the people to push me to want to go to school.
Right.
because if I didn't have a push, it probably wouldn't have happened to a certain extent. I don't know. Like, I'm glad I did it. Like, I'm grateful. I'm glad I went to high school and did my thing and went to college and all of that beautiful stuff. But I wasn't a big fan of it at first. It was the foreign languages for me at first. Ooh. Middle school, I did French, and I just straight failed. And they made me do it twice, and I'm just like, what don't y'all understand? Like, I cannot grasp this language.
I took Spanish and asked me something right now about it.
I did 3 years of Spanish, and I couldn't tell you too much today.
Yeah, I did
I should have continued on, because that's just practice. If you practice it, you can perfect it.
Yeah.
But
I did have, like I said, I had some pretty sweet classes. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I would have applied myself, I'd be amazing in piano, because I had it my whole time that I was at Finney. I had piano. Mm-hmm. And Spanish, I think that was at Finney too. Yep, Mr. McCraw, I think, was my teacher at the time. So I'm trying to remember what I did at Kettering as far as courses. I know I had accountant. Mm-hmm. I had some pretty. I even had awards for Project Seed and stuff in elementary, so I did good in math. But then when I went to high school, I didn't take no math classes. So it was
I don't have a problem with math. I think
I didn't either until So if you don't take the classes, how you gonna learn it? Like, that's why I said I had to go to college to retake all of my math classes, because when I went to Clintondale, Clintondale, we went to Clintondale Adult Education, and that's where we finished out our school, because we couldn't go back to Kettering or whatever. So, they let us do our work on a computer, so we can do anything on the math, because you just got to have certain credits to graduate. I already had my credits. I was only missing 2 credits that I needed, as far as like my diploma type thing. So I was doing my classes, but we was just in so much trouble. Like, I had gotten into a situation at Kettering, wherever, with a car situation. So with that car situation, I got suspended for a whole month. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you missing a whole month of school and schoolwork. Mm-hmm. And then when I come back, now your friends want to try me. So now I'm kicked out the dang on school, because they had told me like I couldn't do nothing. Jewel had already then fought the girl and bust her mouth and bust her nose and closed her eye. So she was already at Trumbull. I was at Kettering by myself at that point. So it was like, it was just too many distractions. But when Jewel left, yeah, I got my education.
I'm done with you.
But I was never like really. I still was doing my classes though. I was doing my classes and I was doing my work. I really like my teachers. Love me. I love my teachers. From elementary school all the way to high school, I love my teachers. And a lot of them, like my teacher was this lady. I don't know if you know Miss Gardner. You ain't go to Stillway, no.
No, Deja did.
Yeah, but Miss Gardner was my teacher, and that was the meanest lady on this earth, and I mean mean. And I loved her. At times we bumped heads, because she had to tell my mama, like, I just don't understand. I never seen a kid with an attitude like this young. But she had the worst attitude too. So it was like we would clash sometimes, but I love her. Like, I just love my teachers. Because she used to have us do like different stuff. She wore like, she was like into like wearing a little African like wearing stuff like that. Like, had us doing like little songs, and girl, she had us like in that class. It was live, but she was strict and very hard. But it was so like, I just like doing those different things. Like, that's one who was like making sure that my math and stuff. That's how I got into the Project C program, and had all them awards and all that stuff was her. So it's like I really enjoy school. It was like for my friends, for the learning, and then just to hang out. Like, we ain't have to be worried about like stuff that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we was fighting a lot, but it wasn't like right now, like people really killing and all that. So we gonna fight, and then we gonna go on about our business. Exactly.
Everybody's a damn shooter. Like, that's just so weird to me. Like I don't know. It's just back to them just seeing something out there on social media and in the world, and they think that's how it's supposed to be.
They think that's how it's supposed to be.
They hear some certain rap songs. I guess it's just like a repeated history because they used to say the same thing about our generation. Oh, they're this way and that way because of the music. But I feel like the music we was listening to, I mean, it wasn't the best, but it ain't nothing compared to some of this
R&B. Like, it was what I used to always listen to. I didn't used to listen to the rap stuff like that. Until I got like a little bit older and we was like you said, like the high school or out of school, but not middle school. No, I wasn't into like all that rap and stuff then. I was literally R&B. And you know that. We used to listen to R&B. Like every Keyshawn, Gino, all of them, they got R&B from us. Like literally being around us because that's all we played was R&B. Like play the songs 1,000 times when we listened to R&B. So yes. So still to this day, I still love R&B like that. But I just felt like with my past and how I was in school and how my sister was in school, I don't want my kids to be like that. Because, you know, when everybody asks us, what school did you go to? And we have to say, which time, when, which one? Like, you know, I don't want them like that. Like, yeah. Because we went, like I said, we then went to almost some of all of the schools. Like, we even went to schools on the west side, to Bar Samian, it's on all the way on 2nd and Pellister. And that's the kids where the school where you can't go to regular schools. They send you there. So we done been to school. We done been to exactly. We done been to schools everywhere. So I don't want them to be like that going to school because I feel like education, like you said, is very important. And I just don't want them to follow my tracks. I don't want them to follow my footsteps.
I just feel like it opens up new doors for people before they even can realize it can open doors. Kenley
said he was in school for the wrong shit.
He never missed band.
That's what I'm saying. It's always that one fun thing that you're going to make sure you there for. Yeah. It's always going to be the one thing that you love in school.
I don't know. I just feel like school, I feel like it's important to receive your education because it helps kind of form your thought process, your way of being able to talk and communicate with people. Because sometimes when you communicate and talk to people, it's kind of off what you know. It's thanks to who you know, but it's like you got to know something to have conversations with people. You got to know certain things in order to be able to continue on. So I just feel like it's very important. Like it just, especially when you hit a certain point. And I'm not saying that you have to go to college and complete college. Personally, that's what I did. I think that was the best time of my life just because I learned more about life than just in what's in the classroom.
And I should have did that too. I should have went and lived on dorm versus just going to the schools or whatever. So I do wish I would have did that because in middle school, because of our poor actions, I didn't have the pleasure of going to prom. I never been to a prom. So I didn't get a chance to go to prom. I didn't get a chance to do
that's more like that.
I didn't get a chance to do senior pictures.
Like, I think that's something important to be able to experience. Especially at that age, like it's a big deal. Yeah. So, granted, I wasn't a big fan of high school. Like I went to Harper Woods and it wasn't nothing that I glorified. I wasn't really going around saying, oh yeah, I went to Harper Woods, hey. But I mean, I met some great people. I'm still friends with some of them. And, you know, I wish everybody the best that I ever interacted with that was there. But I don't know. It was just them 4 years. I was ready for them 4 years to come and go. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was ready to go in. All right, I'm a freshman. Let's knock out sophomore year. Now let's knock out junior year. I'm at senior year. I didn't really get comfortable until mid-junior year, senior year. Senior year, I think I was the most comfortable because I knew I was the senior and I'm about to come up out of here. And I kept to myself. Like I was cool with everybody, but I just kept to myself. I wasn't trying to be in the forefront. I don't have to be that it girl. I'm that girl. I was that girl in my mind just to myself. So if I wasn't that girl for you, that's okay. I'm that girl over here for somebody else. I'm not tripping. So it wasn't I don't know. Like I just was not in all of that. I wasn't doing all the extra. Don't come around me. I really was just to myself. I went to my classes. I wasn't going to a bunch of after school parties. Me and Deja might have did a few like basement parties on the weekends, but I did not. I enjoyed it, but I just was ready for that next level. I just knew it was another level to hit. So this level was like, oh yeah, this seems great now. Everybody want to be grown. Like, no, I know it's another level that's hyper than this that I got to get to. So I don't know if that was my mindset, but I'm just like, high school ain't hitting it for me. Like, even what was fun wasn't fun to me. Like, y'all just about to get a hotel room. All y'all just gonna sit in the room.
Like, see, our high school and middle school was completely different from that. Like, if ours was so innocent like that, then I probably would have did way better. But you know,
I mean, they probably were wild, but it still wasn't nothing. I don't know.
No, let me tell you how I started talking to my son's father at a young age, and it went on all the way until past 20. So the whole thing about it was like he was always in the streets. He was a street boy, so I'm around him and they crew. Mm-hmm. So, and same thing as Jewel. She was always like, you know, we was always around. Like, it was always like a big old, like, we used to hang out with the Cheddar Boys when they first dropped. Mm-hmm. When Wipeout was still living, we was with them. So it was like we was always with people. You get what I'm saying? Like in middle school and high school. Sorry, not middle school. Take that back. But well,
like it was 10
and when I first got to high school or whatever, so we was hanging out with them, you know. And then, like I said, my son, his daddy was in the streets, mm-hmm. So it was always like, you know, some old gangster shit around us. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So it was like we gangster after school, and then in school we supposed to be in class. But you know, it didn't go like that. But for real, it didn't go like that. But that's why I said, just because, you know, I had a kid out of that type of lifestyle. You see, my son, he graduated. He's off to college. No, you don't have to raise your kid like that because of his upbringing. His mama and auntie was always fighting. His daddy a hood nigga. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have to raise him like that. Because that's how his daddy is, or was raised, or whatever he called himself doing. I don't know. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very important that just because you grew up a certain way don't mean your kids have to. Now, that's why I dropped my story, right, of telling how my high school and my middle school was, just to come to this point that just because we was out there like that for school, you know, that's why I'm trying to make them do something different. Mm-hmm. Which is why they in school 2, 3. Like, I literally got cool with the guy who was running the Head Start, and they wasn't allowing 3-year-olds to go. And I had then potty trained my daughter at 2. Ryan, she was potty trained at 2. So they was like, oh, okay, she potty trained. All right, I'm gonna squeeze her in here. So before she can even come in at 3, they let her in at 2. My daughter was going there before she can. You know, they guidelines is 3 years old and up. She got in there at 2. And that's just how I am. So Javion, he started at 3. Mm-hmm. If all of this mess in the world wasn't going on, COVID, monkeypox, these trifling ass parents, my daughter will be in school right now. She's 3. She'll be in Head Start right now, faithfully every day. My whole thing is, I feel like I'm robbed, and I feel like my daughter robbed. But I'm not gonna send my daughter to school knowing that these parents is not making sure that their kids is not coming to school infected or sick. Mm. So I'm not gonna chance my daughter sending her to school. So it's robbing my daughter right now, because that's the thing that I always did. I always made sure they was in school and they had after school programs. But my daughter's robbed from that. She can't even go.
Now, when they evolve, like the medications on things, and not just it being a vaccine, because they are looking for like medicines and different things, mm-hmm. to like change it. Yeah. Is they gonna change for you?
Yeah, and then so when you see it, I'm really training her to keep her mask on. Like, mm-hmm. my daughter is really good with keeping her mask on. Mm-hmm. So, but it's gonna be a time that she has to take it off to eat. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just literally, and now she is to the point where she's going in the bathroom and washing her own hands if they dirty. She go right in there and get the soap and wash her hands. She done, I think, probably done unloosen one of my knobs on my sink trying to jump up there, and you see how tall and big my sink is. So she go in there now and wash her hands. So I will feel a little bit better if she was to go, but I don't know. I just, it's something I want to send her. I want her to get the education. My daughter's smart as a whip.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to get the education, but it's the other parents. It's that they robbing my daughter from it. You know, from that experience on going to school, or me feeling like I can trust the school system because they be beating on kids. Even though my daughter's smart, she'll tell me if somebody hit her. But it's just they, you know, you have so much stuff to worry about. I already have enough to worry about. So maybe at 4, maybe they'll have something better at 4.
Maybe another year.
Yeah, maybe another year or something.
Yeah, I think for the smaller kids, it can be tough, but
yeah,
these older ones, going to school, keep that mask on. You better learn what you gotta learn. I don't know. Like, I think it's just so vital. Like when Rose, she about to be 8. I just feel like it's important for her to grab and gravitate grasp everything that she needs to right now while she's at like this sponge age, because that online was a no-go. Like that did not work at all. Like at all. It just, I don't know. It didn't work out. It's no focus. Half the people that even was working the virtual barely even knew what they was doing.
Yes, that's true.
They got fed up. They got tired. Some teachers wasn't even showing up.
They was quitting, walking out.
Yeah, so it's just like it's tough. I just wish that something can kind of fall into place so they can figure it out.
If I can find something safe for my daughter to go to, y'all, if y'all know somewhere that's safe, let me know. Somewhere that it can be a small little classroom or whatever. But we was riding Gretchen, I seen like a little sign. And I was like, free preschool. And I'm laughing and stuff. The first thing the first thing he said, like, no.
Right.
Like, no, like she's not going. Like, but I'm telling you, I don't know what to do because this is the age that I send my kids to school. Mm-hmm. Like, Jayla been potty trained since she was 2. Like, Ryan was potty trained at 2. Like, my daughter don't make mistakes. She don't pee in the bed or nothing. So she could be in school at 2.5, 3. But because of what's going on, she's getting robbed from going to school.
We gotta figure something out.
Something.
Hit some people up.
I don't know.
These doctors to do their job.
They need to do something. No offense,
I'm sure doctors are doing their jobs.
They walking off.
Some science. Some new science.
They walking off. That's their jobs. They walking off. These doctors is quitting and walking off of their jobs just like the teachers. They overwhelmed and overworked.
Yeah.
Because the don't even get me started. These parents, they don't care how they send their kids to school. And they getting the teacher sick. Then they getting the other kids sick. So it's like these teachers not only have to worry about these wild and hard-headed kids, now they have to worry about their health and other kids' health. Just imagine having to just keep on doing all of these precautions to keep the other kids safe. You know how much stressful that is. On top of having to still teach the class, that's stressful.
I can only imagine.
So I think it's gonna be a lack in the teaching this year.
Now, how do you feel? And this is just, I guess, continuing on, because some people feel as if you don't need to go to college. You don't need to have certain levels of education to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is your take on that? And I can, I guess, explain mine after you, or I can go first.
So you asking me, like, how do I feel? Say that question.
Like, how do you feel about it? What do you think? Do you really think you can be successful and not learn certain things?
So of course, a lot of people literally there's a charger right there. A lot of people can't hook that.
We're gonna make it in time. You just gotta hit it.
A lot of people I think is very successful without going to college, for sure. They have a lot of technical programs that get people to great paying jobs. Although, because I will say this, I don't think college is for everybody. And a lot of people that go to college end up owing so much money because they don't finish, because it wasn't for them. So I feel like, just get into something. Like even if you have to take a trade, even if you have to go and get your CDLs, something that's gonna bring the money in for you. You know what I'm saying? And I say try different avenues so that way if one fail, you got another one. Computer stuff like they have jobs that train you, you know, for the position that you might want. Some places you do have to have certain degrees, but some places you don't. Especially with this pandemic, they was really hiring anybody everywhere. Those jobs that was hard to get into that you never could get into, Chrysler, Ford, all those jobs, they weren't trying to hire you, but then they end up lowering their pay and getting everybody in there. So it's like I just say, school is not for everybody. I just seen people drop out of school in middle school. You get what I'm saying? And but the thing is, if you're gonna drop out of school at middle school, you need to make sure you set yourself up for the future.
And that's my main point of it. Have some type of goal, like something some type of cushion set up somewhere. Because personally, I feel like if you don't know what you want to do with yourself, you have no clue what it is. Either you figure out how to go to college, or military, or a factory. And I don't know if that's just my mindset being from Michigan and seeing people like going and doing certain things.
I don't like the military.
I'm not a big fan of it, but I think it is a great option for people if they don't want to do certain things. Like you get health care, you can't get paid education at a certain point. I mean, you may have to fight.
I don't like it.
That one part.
My cousin Xavier. My cousin Xavier passed away on that collision, that Fitzgerald boat in Japan, when the 7 people died. And ever since then, like, if anybody was to ever ask me the opinion on anything with the Navy, anything like that, and I had cousins and friends, like one of my friends, Tiff Finks, she was in the service, and my cousin Yvette, like, you know, they was in the service. But the whole thing is, now that happened to my cousin, and remind you, my cousin never lived here. So his dad would bring him all the time to Michigan just to bring him here. He was born and raised in Maryland, never lived here ever. And we would go to Maryland, drive to Maryland, or they'll bring him here on the plane or whatever. But he was always with us. Anytime he came, because his grandparents is here, he was always with us. Like when he passed away, the Sun's newspaper from Maryland, they called me and put my little thing in their paper and sent me the paper in the mail. Like, his daddy literally is like this with us because of the bond we had with my little cousin. He was 24. So I don't like nothing about the Navy at all.
Uniform and military.
Yep. I mean, because I just feel like it.
I mean, it is a risk. When with any of them, it's a risk. Granted, it's like it can be a risk, but it also can be a big benefit because it may be a certain place where you can go into that part, but you only do certain areas.
Yeah, now that's different. But like when you out in the field and out on the water and the shooting, like one of Javion's friends was in the backyard, one of his little football team friends. And everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we all going to, to college. We all going to play basketball because football. They all going to play football." This one boy said, "Oh, except for him, he going into the forces and he gonna be shooting and fighting." I'm like, "What made you?" I wanted to know. I said, "What made you choose that to go and literally be shooting and fighting? What made you? What made you want to do that? Like, I really want to know. Like, what made people say, I'm gonna get up and go shoot in this war or in this?" I'm like, because that will scare me to death if my child went into that type of field.
I feel like as long as you know what you want to do with yourself, college doesn't have to be mandatory, but I feel like it's nothing wrong with having a cushion.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a cushion. Not saying that, you're going to be a millionaire when you get a college degree. No, I'm not saying that at all. But it is a good thing to have some type of cushion showing that you have some type of education. It shows that you can complete something. So it's like even down to doing high school, like it's just, I think it's important for you to really grasp it. Personally, to me, if you know there's a trade that you're great at and you know this is what you want to do and you know this is the money maker for you, by all means, put your all into it. And if college is the way to do that, okay, great. If going to a trade school is the more better way, do that. But just make sure you keep that determination in the forefront and like you complete and you push through.
But again, like I told you, everybody is college is not for everybody.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But that's why I'm saying like you gotta at least have something set. Because even if college is not for you, life is for everybody. Even if it's not, you know what I'm saying? And I don't condone anything, but life is for everybody. If you're alive, you gotta live your life. We're not getting no younger. When you get older, you gotta have certain things set in place. You gotta make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. And you gotta work. The older you get, the more difficult life is gonna become for you. So it's like if you're just thinking, oh, you're just gonna push by, oh, I don't have to do nothing. I don't know what's gonna happen for you because how are you supposed to survive? You have to be able to work. You got to be able to know something to work. You got to be able to do certain things. You got to have something coming back. Like you have to do something. So it's like, I think personally, if you don't know nothing, like you don't know what you want to do, like you don't know how to grow, the older you get, you don't have a career, you don't have a trade, and you just sitting here stuck. Maybe you should take a class and figure out what it is that I like. Maybe I do like to read. Okay, let me figure out how I can do X, Y, and Z with reading. Maybe write a book of what you've done. Be going to entrepreneurship. But even when going into entrepreneurship, I feel like there's nothing wrong with maybe taking a class. There's nothing wrong listening to a TED Talk. Education is not always sitting in a classroom. You can educate yourself simply by going and researching things, by sitting here taking free little classes and seminars and different things like that. You don't have to go and get an actual college degree, but it is important to educate yourself. You have to push yourself to understand things. But if you don't want to do nothing, I don't know what to tell you.
It's people that complain, that I hear complain a lot, saying that they did go to college and got certain degrees and stuff, and they not even using them in the wherever they're working out. And so they be like, they felt like it was a waste of time, and they racked up so much credit on basically. I do hear that a lot of complaints.
I hear that too. I mean, I've heard people, even people I know, like say that. Personally, for me, I can't speak for everybody that has a degree, but when it came to like my experiences behind it, I went for a degree that I knew kind of aligned with my past experiences and what I liked. I knew I've been in sales for years because I started at Jimmy Jazz working after high school. I didn't go straight to Michigan State. I went to Macomb Community College and took classes for me to figure out what classes I liked. And then that's what kind of propelled me to figure out my major, which was communications and focused in media, because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy doing research. I enjoy being able to present something back to an audience and talk about it. So that always grabbed me from the forefront. However, sales also tied into communication too. So it was always a situation where I can kind of like teeter between what I already have, like in regards to my experience, and now it can kind of align with my degree.
Right.
So it worked for me in certain cases, but I still had to dig from the bottom up. Like I didn't come straight out of Michigan State like, oh yeah, I went to state and I have this great job instantly. Like I worked my butt off to finally get a decent job, and I still have other levels to hit. I still have other like pay grades to reach to be truthful on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. I worked my butt off for that paper, and it's worthy of getting over $100,000 a year. Like I know I can push to obtain that at some point. This paperwork is going to pay itself off at a certain point, but I was able to align again my experiences and my histories with that, and I grinded it out. I worked at Enterprise. I had to clean the cars. I did those different ins and outs before I even got to Enterprise, because Enterprise was a big step. Just having that experience alone, which would then push me to be able to work with GM. But it just wasn't given to me just because I had a degree. I still had to like put that work in. That's why I tell people, if it's something that you know from the forefront, from the core that you like to do, get a trade. Like it's nothing wrong with going to trade school. It's nothing wrong with getting your certification on certain things and instantly pushing for something that you like to do. Yeah. But if it's something you don't know, go take some classes. I wouldn't have known that I like to do certain things, or at least a confirmation of knowing that I like to do history, like, doing research and pushing back information. I wouldn't have known that until I actually went took like college courses, and my degree did help. Now, some of the people where their degree may not have helped, maybe they missed certain things because some in certain ways, the way certain things are set up, they want you to have so much experience in X, Y, and Z. In different criteria. And sometimes it really becomes a situation where it's not what you know, it is who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to like work that. You got to be able to work, your different backgrounds and who you know and can they help me and and it's not like kissing butt or nothing like that, but it's just building that network push. Don't be hesitant. Like before, I was going to all type of college tours and all type of career events, not just at Michigan State, but outside of my college, down here for different jobs that I know that I might be above, but it still gave me that opportunity to understand and figure out how to learn how to have interviews. But it also introduced me to different people that helped me open certain doors to go do something else now. Like the job I have, I didn't apply for my job. They actually found me. So it was like, and that was just off of a connection. Not even no solid connection, but it was still just based off a connection from like passerby, from past career events and different things, and people having me on LinkedIn, and it's just off of who I knew. But I never stopped. I just kept going. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. And I think it's also like a mindset. If I put it in my mind and my degree would not gonna do nothing for me, it's not gonna do nothing for me. Because I instantly looked at it as a fail. I instantly realized it was a failure. I instantly saw that it was nothing I could do. So it was like, you already got it in your mind it ain't gonna work, so it ain't gonna work. Like it works like that on all levels. So it's not just, oh, my degree didn't work for me. Okay, well, what did you do for it to work for you?
Because a lot of people, I guess they were saying like, from what I always run into is that people don't hire the beginning type stages or whatever the case is, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say to you because I don't know.
They don't hire you when you first come out. No,
right?
You're not gonna get top. And then let's be honest. Unfortunately, it really comes into play when it comes about maybe who you know. Some people on certain sides of the fence have that family backing where they have these people set in certain places, and all I have to do is get my degree. And my dad's working here, so I can go there, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes they have it. Some of them don't. Some have to really get it out the mud. But it's like, if you fought for that paper, you know how to fight. Mm-hmm. Especially in certain cases, because college is not easy. And if college came easy to you, maybe this is you going through the mud time now. You know what I'm saying? Because getting that paper was not like an easy thing. I didn't just go to state and be like, oh yeah, I'm smart, I'm Ari. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm capable of. Let me just go and just knock this out and get my paper. It wasn't an easy walk across the stage. I worked my butt off. I cried. There was plenty of sleepless nights. Failed classes, passed classes, took time off, jumped back in, had to work these jobs to pay certain things off. Like, it wasn't always like this easy peasy, and it wasn't as fun as everybody made it seem. I think that's what I loved about it the most, was the journey through it. And I think people, and that's just within life that I feel like people need to start to understand, just enjoy the journey, even when it's not good. Because that journey at college was not always good. It was horrible at times. It was hard sitting there, getting along with friends. One day we into it, but while we into it, we got to sit here and figure out how to do a final. I think my first semester, I lost my grandmother, like during finals time. Me and Deja was losing our minds. And it was one of those things where it's like, you got to figure out how to still push through. Life is happening. And it just was a great example for you to realize life happens. So how are you going to be able to tackle life, like tackle, the BS of life, and continue on to do what you have to do?
Right.
Because life is still going to keep going. Mm-hmm. Just because my life is in shambles right now, that professor teacher life, she might be doing great, getting ready to go on a yacht in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Perfect bill of health. Everybody's doing great. She just need my paper. But my life is, ending. So it's like, it helps you figure out and juggle certain things. Like, college is not just about the whole taking the class and just getting the degree. You got to really you gotta really also like understand like it's a life experience that'll help you like propel through the tough parts too.
Right.
So excuse me, it's also how you choose to grind it, how you choose to push it.
And Kelly
It
said
really
some
is.
people have the knowledge but not the drive and ambition.
Yeah. A lot of I've known like I had a really good friend. She was stupid smart. Read the dictionary for fun. Like smart as shit. Could not stand school. Did not go to college. She did everything before finally saying, all right, I'm gonna go to college. Like I'm gonna like get a degree just to have a backing to be honest. Cause you know what she's doing, she's fine. She's good, she's married. She does nails, she does her thing. Like it works for her. But she wants to have that backing. So yeah, it's a push.
Yeah, they have
Telling
to.
you.
I'm telling you, I think that with elementary, middle school, high school, college, all of that, I think people need support. It's really the support system too, because
Yeah.
especially if you have kids, especially if you trying to go back to college now that you didn't pass these years and all this stuff, and you going back to college,
It's
you
really important
have
too.
to have support.
You have to have support, but like you said, or I think kind of like monkeying off of what Akila said, it's really the drive for it too. You gotta have that drive and ambition because I've seen people that had all the support in the world and still just chose to fail because that's not what they wanted to do. Like that wasn't their thing. Like it was like, nah, I'm a. It's like they literally like have the engine revving for you. Like they're doing the work for you. Like hey, you have everything your heart desires when it comes to that support. And you be like, nah, I'm still gonna go that way.
I didn't really have support like that, so my college I put on pause, like because I was going to two different ones, so two different majors at two different colleges at the same time. But even when I decided to just cut back and only was going to one of them, I still felt like I didn't have the proper support. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to give this a break because then I got hired at T-Mobile. Now I'm running my own store. Oh my God. Like that was the heaviest weight on my whole life. My chest, my shoulders. I literally was working some days, 6 days a week, like just dealing with petty, immature reps. Like it was too much. So how could somebody concentrate in school? Then come home and you really don't get no relief like that. So it's like you always getting pulled and attacked at every little part in your every single part of your life. The person with the highest drive and ambition still couldn't probably push through that myself because I really was passionate about going to school. I was going to two colleges at the same time, so you know I was passionate, but it was just the lack of support.
But it's now where you have to look at it and realize it is truly a marathon and not a race at all. And you have to put brakes on certain things. Like even when I was at state, I took a break. I didn't completely go straight through and just finish. You know, oh, I was able to push through RBS. You know, even though I did have a great support system, it was still off of me. You know, I still had to get myself aligned and right in order. So yeah, like it's nothing wrong with taking that break and stopping, but just realize it is a marathon. It's not a race. You don't have to race. There's nobody that you're chasing in regards to having to finish because it's gonna be somebody that's being born tomorrow that's at some point gonna go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no race. Like you just take your time on it. If it has to take you a year, take your year off. If you have to take one class to ease into it, take that one easy class that you know is not gonna stress you, that's not gonna bother you, and ease yourself into it. Take time.
Actually,
and it's harder the older you get, but it's like that's when that drive and ambition really plays a part in comparison.
What made me go so hard in college like that, taking those classes, because I was trying to show my kids that it can be done. Like going to school and working full time and being a mother of three or two or however many kids I had. So it was just like showing them that. So when they was going to school, I was going to school. Actually, I'm enrolled in college right now. My classes is due to start, so I'm back enrolled into my course again. So
it take your time. It take your time and take it with ease, and don't stress yourself out about it. And if you feel like 2 is too much, take one away. Refigure. It may be easier to take that class in the summertime. Like that was another thing that I even figured, even with being in college at Macomb. Like I would take this class in the fall and it would be extra hard. But if I wait till the summer, yeah, that's gonna be easier. Like you gotta really figure, what may work best and may not work best for you in your certain cases. Because everybody's situation is different. Everybody has different stuff going on. So you gotta do what's best for you. Yeah. So ultimately, as long as I feel like education is important. You don't have to go to college to receive education.
That's true.
You can watch TED Talks. YouTube University is a real thing.
Okay.
Seriously. That people make a lot of damn money off of it too. So it's like education is a big deal. You don't have to sign up for a class.
And that's my point on saying, like, some people can get like some type of trade or like you said, because there is like, cybersecurity, all type of stuff that you can actually go on YouTube and practice and just go and take the test. You don't even have to touch a school. So they have stuff like that. That's what I was saying when I was saying that you literally have to, do like a trade or some outside training and stuff like that.
Yeah. But all right, well, everybody that's out there, go ahead. If there's anything additional you guys want to go ahead and add to it, go ahead and type it on in. I know a lot of people comes in after and rewatch it after and add additional topics. Let us know what you guys are thinking. What do you feel? Do you think education is a big deal? Do you think go live your life, sis, and do without? Let us know. Think before we go, King, like I said, the smartest thing you can do is be around people that's smarter than you and be a sponge. That's a very big fact. I've heard plenty of times if you're the smartest one in the room, you should get out the room. Find some other smart people, unless like you're a teacher. I think Jay-Z might have said that actually. Okay. I think he actually just said that in the Murder Inc. documentary too. But that was about it. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Let us know how you feel about education. Should these kids be going through with things? How do you feel about these little kids going back into the classrooms? Thank God.
Can y'all please let my daughter go to school? That's all I got to say. Can y'all let my 3-year-old get a chance to do school, witness school, be able to go into a building? Can y'all, if y'all kids is sick, keep them at home.
Please keep them at home.
Keep them.
Yes.
At home.
But that is it. Have a great night, y'all. Thank you for hanging with us. And we will talk to y'all Sunday.
I think you should always be learning.
Always be learning. You should.
That's what Ken said for the last little.
You should always
go ahead and
seriously watch a TED Talk.
Go to our YouTube page and please subscribe to our YouTube page if you guys have not done so. It is What You Not Gonna Do podcast. Yeah. And click that subscribe.
Instagram is out there. What You Not Gonna Do _pod.
Spotify, Twitch, Twitter. What You Not Gonna Do. Oh, and what's that other one? That house? Clubhouse.
We'll be going there live, just having random conversations. I cannot wait to jump into on that. 21 Savage be on there talking about a lot. But peace out, y'all. Go like, share, subscribe. All of us, we all on there. What You Not Gonna Do podcast. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. YouTube. Have a great night, everybody. Be blessed. Keep those kids safe. And make sure you guys are teaching them to wash your hands and all that good stuff. Yes. Good night. You don't see that, you got to click OK.